Flint, Michigan is midway through one of the biggest crises in its history. For over a year, the city has been ingesting water contaminated by lead, leading to thousands being poisoned. But how do we get to a point where city water in a country like the United States is undrinkable? Hello and welcome to In Focus. Until April 2014, Flint used water supplied by the city of Detroit and had been doing so for nearly half a century without a problem. Then the city of Flint decided to switch its supply to the Flint River in order to save money. Straight away, residents began to complain the water tasted weird, looked strange, and smelled disgusting. The problem was, or is, that the Flint River water is much more corrosive than the previous water supply from Lake Huron. Corrosive water, combined with aging pipes, meant that lead was seeping into the water supply somewhere between when it left the plant and when it left the tap. Parents began to worry about the safety of their children. Kids were becoming more irritable and more prone to learning difficulties. In September 2015, the Hurley Medical Center released a study confirming the problem. They discovered the proportion of infants and children with above average levels of lead in their blood had nearly doubled since the city switched its water source. Let's take a sidebar and talk about lead poisoning. The reason the focus has been on the lead levels in children is because the metal interferes with the development of the nervous system, so children are more susceptible to its effects. You can take on too much lead by ingesting it or by smelling it, which is why there's no lead in paint anymore. According to the World Health Organization, lead affects children's brain development, resulting in reduced IQ, behavioural changes such as shortening of attention span and increased antisocial behaviour, and reduced educational attainment. Lead exposure also causes anemia, hypertension, renal impairment, immunotoxicity, and toxicity to the reproductive organs. The neurological and behavioural effects of lead are believed to be irreversible. There's no recognised safe level of lead either. That is, it's currently believed any amount of the deadly metal, no matter how small, could cause harm. Every child who has drank water provided by the city of Flint since April 2014 have been exposed to the metal. How many that could be, nobody knows. The problem is major, but the response wasn't as hasty as you may think. Initially, city and state officials denied the water was unsafe. Then they issued a notice informing residents about unlawful levels of trihalomethane, a chlorine byproduct linked to cancer. People began marching demanding the water be reconnected to Detroit, but officials offered any solution but, from boiling water to providing filters. Finally, 6 months later, the call was made by Governor Rick Snyder to give the people what they wanted. A state of emergency wasn't declared until January 5 this year. On the 16th, it was a federal state of emergency. Between those dates, the National Guard was mobilised to help distribute bottled water and water filters. $5 million in federal aid has been put aside to help. Now Governor Snyder, the state, the city, and 13 other public officials are facing a class action federal lawsuit alleging officials deliberately deprived them of their 14th Amendment rights by replacing formerly safe drinking water with a cheaper alternative that was known to be highly toxic. Many are already calling for Snyder to step down for his handling of the disaster, but the findings of that suit could be the final nail in his coffin. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.